Next Gen Consoles is here, ladies and gentlemen. But do we have enough storage? That's what we're talking about today in the Gaming Hub. Let's go. It's a great day on the internet, everybody, and welcome to Assemble. I'm Matt. How are you? Friday. So excited. I'm so excited because consoles are coming. Consoles are here. People have them in their hands. They're getting them all grimy. Controllers are getting muddy. Everyone's doing the click, 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 boom. It's a great time. I'm very excited. Series X, PS5, come on. It's what we all dream about, is getting brand new consoles in our hands. And we also dream about getting those consoles and just maxing them out with all of those games that we absolutely love, from our back catalog to the current games, getting that Spider-Man Miles Morales on there, doing some of the pew pew web slinging, all that fun stuff. But there is one big issue that I wanted to talk to you guys about today. And is it an issue? Or is it something that we just need to kind of consider, and does it matter to you? That's really what I want to talk about. Does next gen storage matter to you? We have a plethora of games that are going to be coming down the pipe over the course of the generation, and storage is often one thing that we do talk about and we do have concerns about for a lot of us. Some of us love to just bang out that library and take that terabyte of storage and max that thing out with all of these giant games like Call of Duty, like Destiny, Avengers. Like, all of these titles take up a considerable amount of space on our drives. Now, the beautiful part and the magical thing that I love is that we're getting SSD and we are getting those quick load times and those quick boot ups, and that is going to be in part because of that SSD drive. But having that amount of storage that we're getting on both PS5 and Series X, do you feel it's enough? Let's talk about it. The Series X is coming in with an advertised 1 terabyte of storage for the console, but we're getting about 802 terabytes available of actual space to use in the games. Now, this is really good, and this is a little bit more than the PS5 has to offer. But when you consider all of the Game Pass titles that we have access to and that we need to download to our systems, considering new titles that come out, and I think of games like Halo or Master Chief Collection, Call of Duty, Warzone, these titles take up huge amounts of space. And between what we have on what's going to be coming for the new catalog of games and titles that are coming down the pipe, I think of Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think of all the racing games that I love, I think of getting into games like maybe dabbling back into GTA 5, maybe going through Gears of War in the entire collection, or the remastered up-res version of Gears 5. And inevitably when Halo comes out, and even this year's Call of Duty for Black Ops Cold War. These titles take up a considerable amount of space on your drive. And when I look at a games as a service title like a Avengers, like a Destiny, these titles take up considerable amount of storage. And they are games that a lot of us, they kind of are junk food, they are go-tos, they are the ones that we want to be able to play whenever we want to just be able to pick up and go. But they do take up a lot of space. I'll use an example. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is coming in at about 50 gigabytes of storage. That's a lot. And when I look at that and I add in Call of Duty, the current Call of Duty with Warzone, that title with all of its DLC, its updates, upgrades, everything, that thing is over 100 gigs to download in its full capacity. Then I want to be able to get the next Black Ops game. And Black Ops is around 82 gigabytes to fill. So guys, I've got 3 games so far that I'm just putting on my Series X. And don't get me wrong, there is totally going to be the conversation around, well, Matt, just get rid of some of the games that you don't play. But when I add up those main titles, those kind of my go-to titles for kind of the everyday gaming, the stuff I want to be able to just jump into, it's a lot. And it starts to make you think about, what can you do with that console and which games are really going to be your go-tos, unless you want to be able to dump more money into the expandable storage. Now, expandable storage has been a big piece of the conversation, and it's something that Microsoft is really trying to push home for the consumer as being able to say this is an additional offer and option for people that are concerned about storage. So to be able to get that extra SSD, that 1 terabyte of additional storage, Seagate does offer this as an option, and Microsoft does a really amazing job with this in terms of a proprietary additional storage. So instead of going for the traditional USB, we have this expandable SSD plug-in that will go right into the back of the Xbox that you guys have obviously seen anywhere and everywhere. But one big gripe I have with it is the actual cost of this thing. The SSD expandable Seagate drive with 1 terabyte in Canada is $300. Guys, by the time we're done in Canada here, it's costing about $320 after tax to get that expandable storage to now be up to a 1.8 terabyte drive for my console. Now, obviously, over the course of the years of the generation, that price is probably going to come down substantially and considerably, but because it's a Microsoft Xbox proprietary piece, Microsoft is probably going to keep it in their best interest to keep that price very high for as long as they can without, a few little sales here and there. But that thing is going to stay north of $200 for a very, very long time. And it makes it an interesting conversation with gamers like me who want to be able to download from the previous library of a lot of stuff from Game Pass. I think of Forza, I think of GTA, I think of Batman, I think of all these games that I love to just go to, and some that I just want to be able to experience, and others that I haven't had the chance to, like Red Dead Redemption 2. These are considerable size games, and it makes me feel like I don't have always the options to be able to just jump in, play, and have it in the back of my brain that this is going to be a concern for me when I'm turning on my Series X. But what about you guys? Does the actual storage on your Series X matter to you? Do you feel that you would fill it all the way up? Let me know in the comments below. But let's talk about PlayStation 5, shall we? So the PS5 is an actually even more interesting case in my opinion. PS5 actually is being shipped with a storage of about 825 gigabytes. And by the time you consider the OS and everything, what we're seeing on websites like The Verge, they're saying that it's clocking in at around 667 usable gigs of storage for your games. That's a little bit less, obviously, than what we're getting over on Series X. Now, let's put it into context for games, shall we? The Spider-Man Miles Morales, the Ultimate Edition, where you're getting Spider-Man from PS4 with all of the updates and the Miles Morales campaign all built in, it's 105 gigs, guys. Demon Souls is running in at 66 gigs, and Sackboy is around 30 gigs. So for a launch lineup, and I haven't downloaded anything else, like let's consider Call of Duty as well if you like to play over there. Gran Turismo is very, very huge. It is one of those almost tech demo game titles that you want to be able to showcase for your new console. Those have got to run around 80 to 100 gigs. You can see that especially on PlayStation side, it's going to be difficult for us to be able to have this vast library that we're used to. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of those titles, they're indie titles, they're smaller titles that are going to run you 10 gigs, 20 gigs, 50 gigs, and it's going to be okay. And for some that are campaign driven, that are basically the story focused games, they may be 80 to 100 gigs. But those titles, at least for me, there are a lot of them where I just want to be able to play it once or twice and I'm done. Get some trophies, have a bit more fun, but then I'm done with the campaign and I'm done with that title. But I always like to be able to have it sitting there. I always want to be able to have it on my digital library, and I'm going digital for my PS5 this year. I want to be able to have that there. I like being able to blade. I like being able to go through my entire game library. One, just to awe over it and to see what games I have, but two, it's for the options. Right? It's sitting down at night. It's being able to say, man, you've had a day, you worked all day, you've had the family, whatever it is, and it's time for you to play. And you might know exactly what you want to play, but you might want to sit there and go through some of the games. And it would be a real bummer if you got an itch to go back to something like Uncharted, to go back to Last of Us, and realize that, man, I've got to be able to download this from the store, deal with that, wait, get all the updates, and then I'm ready to play. By that time, you've probably missed the boat and you've moved on to something else. Now, please don't bury me in the comments, guys, because I do know and understand that we can plug in our external HDD drives, and that's totally cool because I've got extra ones that are going to be, 2 gigs, and I can just be able to plug it in and store those games on there. But to be able to get the benefits of PS5 and Series X, you want to have them on the SSD to take advantage of everything that they have to offer. That's why we're getting the new system. So on one hand, sure, I could go and fill up my external hard drives, but the performance is going to be there to be able to load them onto the main drive. That's probably going to take a little bit of slowdown too. And I'm not interested, frankly, in this generation of having the slowdown pieces. I want to be able to just maximize and experience everything all in that one hub. So for me personally, I'm probably going to end up having to sacrifice some game titles or being more selective and choosy, especially out of the gate, of what do I want to load up, which actually could contribute to what you want to buy. This is where it gets really interesting for me, is because I would be the one to sit there more carefully, look at my storage and look at what I have loaded. If I look at my PS5, I'm going to have Spider-Man in the Ultimate Edition. I may have Call of Duty on there. I may have Demon Souls, probably MLB The Show. My Batman collection I want to have on there, and possibly even just like games like Uncharted to see how they look and play on the next gen consoles. Once I start adding up those games, you're talking like 500 gigs potentially gone. and used up by stuff that's either brand new, and some of my go-tos is my callback game. This is where it gets really picky and choosy, because then I think about games like Ratchet and Clank that are going to come out that I really want to be able to play, and now I have to start considering what do I got to dump off of my machine and upload to get that game to work in 2021, not even considering where we're going to be at in 2023 or further. Now, we do have the options, obviously, and Sony has talked about this, that there will be future updates to be able to have the expandable storage on the system, but nothing has come out yet by Sony. Microsoft is at least ahead of the curve when it comes to this, but what do you guys think? Is it going to impact you with that initial run playthrough of these titles, or are you just going to be selecting the couple of key titles that you want to be able to play with right out of the gate? For me, it's going to be able to just kind of look at some of those core main titles that I want on my system and just playing with those right out of the bat. But looking at it long term, guys, is this going to impact you? Do you feel that the storage issue is going to be that? Is it an issue? Is it something that you're really going to have to consider long term for your longevity with these consoles? You're going to be more choosy with them, or are you going to blow it out of the water and it doesn't even matter? You're saying, screw it, I'm going all in. But it does create an interesting conversation for us when we look at things like what proprietary storage, expansion storage is going to cost us over even the short and long term, where you're talking hundreds of dollars more to invest. Great move by the companies and the systems. However, for the consumer, it's a lot of coin. You're talking $650 by the time I get the Series X. If I wanted that extra storage and one game, that's $1,000 package, not in talking about what I'm paying for Game Pass. And Game Pass being an amazing value, of course, but to be able to get that full, absolute premium experience with, let's just say, the Series X at launch, expandable storage, 1 or 2 titles, it's over $1,000. And not a lot of us can afford that. But not a lot of us need to have 50 titles running on their consoles. So it's an interesting question. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Does the storage issue actually matter to you? Or do you think that you'll have just enough to get through for this console generation? Or are you gonna make the plunge in 6 months, a year, 2 years, and double down and get more storage? Let me know what you guys think. Thank you so much for watching this week on Assemble in the Gaming Hub. I'm Matt, and as always, thank you for assembling with us. See ya!